Hello, guys, and welcome to another one. This one is going to be a quick update on the events to expect in January. So, I'm gonna go ahead and start. And the first one we have here is the Gold Experience Orns and drop bonuses for today. So, it has already begun. So, you guys need to get to it. If you haven't been, make sure your kingdom has activated the temples and enjoy. For the entire month, we have the Rise of the Phoenix event, and this event is probably going to require me to cover it individually, but it's going to be a really cool one, a really interesting one, and the raids, they have an interesting adornment for certain builds. It's not that important, but it could work for certain builds depending on just how tweaked your build is. But I'll talk about that in the video specifically about Rise of the Phoenix. So look out for that. We have the experience event on January 4th to 5th. So that's 2 days. We have the Draconian Era event, which I'm going to do a special video on too. And this one is where you get the tons of pets that do the blights. You face a ton of bosses in the dungeons. So anybody planning to alt this month, well, this is your sign that you will not be getting to alt that much, or comfortably anyway. But I'm gonna do a special video on that, so I won't speak too much about it. And we have the spelunking event that is just you earn more orns and you can enter dungeons more frequently. That will be January 18th to 19th. And finally, an Orn event on the 20th to 21st, and that is 25% more Orns again. So I'm going to activate my Kingdom Temples on the 18th, then again on the 21st, because I believe that those 4 days are enough for all three to be back up. So yeah, I'm gonna pretty much do a video on, maybe I could actually explain these two in this video, since this video isn't that long so far. So Rise of the Phoenix, since this one is a simple one, the adornment from Rise of the Phoenix is the ruby and the ashen ruby, which gives 1% of the damage done back in HP or 2% of the damage done back in HP respectively. So the ruby does 1%. It is a lower tier, I believe tier 7, and the ashen ruby is tier 9 and gives 2% heal back. And you usually only need one in your weapon unless you're trying to get them to stack for the additional healing. Another thing is these are found in the Dragon Roost and these are found in the Dragon Roost, so that will be very interesting. And they all offer Godforge aura, so this is going to be a massive Godforge month in the Dragon Roost especially. But I believe the Rise of the Phoenix are only in the Dragon Roost, whereas the Draconian Era are in all of the, not all of the dungeons, normal dungeons, boss mode. Yeah. So, interesting thing about the Draconian Era, the World Raid boss, Arisen Cattle, will have some really nice gear. It will have gear for Realm Shifter. It has an interesting helmet for Realm Shifter. I like it. It has the boots for mages. And it has an interesting-ish top, but I don't use it. But for certain builds, you could technically use it. So it's just up to you. I don't like the warrior gear that it drops, honestly, but it does drop the view distance helmet for warriors or other classes except for realm. So that one is something you should look out for because that gives 10% additional view distance. The bosses themselves, they drop some really cool stuff. The most important drop from these, the Draconian era bosses, would be from the Arisen Cattle Cultival. No, it's actually from the Arisen Emir, I believe, the Jewel of Creation. And that is a really powerful armor adornment. So you guys definitely need to be looking out for that one. They drop an assortment of other things. If you guys want a real breakdown, you can ask me in the comments and I will make that, because they drop a bunch of weapons and other stuff from the ones in the dungeons. As for the followers, depending on what you're looking for, the followers are interesting for doing like blights that give additional damage from certain spells or certain elements of spells. So yeah, should be an overall interesting one. The Draconian era is definitely going to be the one to focus on. Rise of the Phoenix, it's more of a Rise of the Phoenix also has some carry gear though. But for carry gear, the mage version, because you're going to use Snatcher for a lot of the times until you're way higher level, it does not matter the quality because you won't be using the defensive stat. And that is the main stat that you would want, because it's not giving any magic stat. It is giving a temporary buff. So there is a helmet and there is a boot, depending on what you're doing and what type of build you're using. You will use one or the other. So they're called the Ash Plum armor line, and you guys can check those out on the official Orna website right now or the Orna.guide website. So yeah, that was a bit of a mouthful. I hope I spoke on it for a bit. I can do, as I said, an in-depth video on each event if that is desired. If not, as usual, I would like to send a special shout out to my Patreons, Nero Latarni, Burton, McKenna, Orban and Bear, Deluxe. Who am I missing? Aaron, and oh, I have a new Patreon. Oh my god, it's like his name is Daishiki or something. I'm not sure if I know how to pronounce it, but just a special shout out to every single one of my Patreons. And shout out, I guess I should be sending, because it is in the Patreon thing, I should actually be sending a special shout out to my S tier Patreon, my only public S tier Patreon, and that is Deluxe. So yes, a special shout out to him. I will be doing a lot with my Patreons this month, because this is an extremely important month. This event is extremely important. So on January 5th to 20th, I will be doing so much with my Patreons, as well as I will be summoning during that time a lot of summoning scrolls for my Patreon spot. So yeah, so it's going to be a big month for my Patreons for sure. Anyway, guys, thanks as usual for watching, and take care of yourselves.